What's up, everyone? My name is Jesse. This is the Auditorium. I react to video game music as a musician myself. Today is the return of, the Commodore 64. This one's interesting. I don't know if there is a song name attached to this, but it just says Rasputin. So could be the game, and this is just like this main song or something. I couldn't find anything else from it. And it says music by Rob Hubbard from the channel Mehmet Krijic. Requested by Patrick over on Patreon. Thank you so much. Excuse me. Right before I get started, I've only listened to Commodore 64 music 2 times on this channel, or 2 times in my life, and both were on this channel. And honestly, I was like quite impressed with what I heard. You know, one was Last Ninja, and the other one I can't remember at the top of my head, but they were right next to each other. And I still remember that Last Ninja song. Like, it was so cool at the time. And just threw me for a loop. But I will say, though, I still get comments on those 2 videos from people that grew up with the system and had these fond memories of the Commodore 64, which I think is awesome. And I think one of the coolest parts of something like this channel is, you know, people like rekindling that flame of their love of video game music, even as far back as, in this case, 1985, which shouldn't sound like a very long time ago, but it is. And so yeah, I've never heard of Rasputin. I don't know what it is. If you know the song title, please let me know. But all we know is Rob Hubbard, and this is a Commodore 64 Rasputin. I am actually pretty excited, I'm not gonna lie. Let's go. Eastern sounding. Sped up. I've heard this before. That melody. Imagine hearing something like this in 85 on a console or computer. The future. Damn, dude. Has it looped yet? Did we just go into halftime? After all that? Ooh! Damn, that was sick. That was sick. I feel like this song would have taken up the whole memory. It just sounds like that. You know, I've been doing this now for 2 years. Listening to video game music on and off throughout my whole life, but from just like the small games that I played, right? Very small selection. Actually, side note, if anyone's ever curious about like every game I've ever played in my life, I actually have a little Discord channel for that, and it just lists every game I've ever played. Is like as much as my memory allowed me to remember, I put every single game there. It's not that long, maybe like 100 something. Anyways, but I feel like what we just heard was very significantly historical and a very important thing that contributed to many of what we know now. You know, let's put it in, like, this is the way I feel about this. I feel like if it wasn't for this kind of stuff, you wouldn't be watching me right now. You wouldn't have met me. You wouldn't have, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's probably not the first to do it. I'm just saying, but it's early on. And, you know, there was video games before this, too. There was the Atari and stuff like that. But we're talking, like, limitations here. And we're talking, like, consoles after this were a lot shorter and less complex than this. So I'm just trying to, like, wrap my head around the technology at the time, how this person was able to compose with whatever technology they had. Like, were they part of the development of the Commodore 64? Do they know how the inner workings? Because, like, it's one thing to write music, which is its own set of, you know, rules and troubles and all that. But to take that into a very foreign device and create melodies, I don't know. I have to look into more Commodore 64 stuff. But from what I know, all I really know of the Commodore 64 was like, it was like a home computer or some sort of computer. I don't know if it was a computer strictly for gaming or mostly for gaming. I just know it was like a computer type thing. And the only reason I even have heard about it is because of the Angry Video Game Nerd did like a Superman game on it, which is hilarious, by the way. But I've never actually like looked into it, even when I heard those other two songs too, because in a way I kind of like the mystery. I like not knowing anything about it, because I can just be over here in awe of the sort of magic it holds. You know what I mean? I think to a modern, newer audience, like let's say like Gen Z or heard that or something, I don't want to speak for them, but I assume that they probably wouldn't gravitate towards something like this. It probably sounds really weird and almost uncomfortable. You know, it's very brash and chaotic even. And maybe to some of the older generations too. You know, I know my audience goes anywhere from like early 20s to up to like 50. So we have, a large demographic of video game listeners. But even to say someone like, let's say around my age in like the early 30s to this still might sound kind of odd because, grew up with PlayStations and all that, which already had CD quality. But to me, maybe because it's the musician in me, I'm hearing all these melodies and structures, and to me that sounded like a classical piece. Even though it was, a chip tune and can only do so much, I could hear like Bach and all that. I could hear the violins doing all that, and the speeding up and all that. It was a classical piece. I could totally imagine this, with an orchestra. And it'd be pretty nuts, but it would sound dope. I don't know where to start, but first of all, I think the big thing here was I've heard this before. Like it's one of those, that guy on YouTube. I don't know what he is. I don't know if he's like Russian or something, but we've all seen him, right? He's got like a tuxedo. The camera's up here. He's like songs you've known your whole life but don't know the name of. I know you guys know who I'm talking about. I'm even subbed to him. I don't even know his name. But that guy, I feel like he would do like one of these songs. I feel like I've heard that melody before, and I'm almost positive I have. It's something I've heard, and it might even be a classical piece. But what I'm saying is, though, I don't think this was fully original, which is totally fine, by the way. But it's like they either, what's the word I'm thinking of here? They kind of like interpolated it, made it their own. But man, that was so like complex. And then the speeding up, going back down, and then the halftime later to this groove. I felt like this was pushing its limits. Truly, it felt like the way. Not that it was struggling, but it just the song sounded like it's really pushing it. And why I said probably sounded futuristic at the time, because I can't think of what would sound like that back then. I don't know. I wasn't alive yet, but yeah, I really want. If you guys know that song, please tell me, because I know it exists. I just don't know what it's called. What else did I write? Oh, of course. I mean, it goes without saying, stuff like this is highly influential. You couldn't have your Toby Foxes without stuff like this. It's actually kind of funny how nowadays, not all, but there's a lot of indie games that try to go for a sound that is closer to this, even though they don't need to. I know it sounds weird, but it's like a stylistic choice, right? But it's just, I always thought that was kind of entertaining how here they had no choice. And now the magic of that sound of the chiptune is now sought after. So now when you hear it in modern day, in like a new game, you're like, whoa, this sounds really cool and retro, and it has this really, it's like automatically super stylized because of like the landmark that it left. So, so now when you hear stuff like Undertale and Celeste and what's the other one? Dance of the, oh man, I can't think of it right now. I can't think of it, but there's like I'll look it up in a second. What I'm saying is like they all are taking that sound. That's pretty much all I got. I mean, I really enjoy that. It's a lot to take in. That's, the sounds are really like rough in a way, but the melodies, I don't know. It's hard for me to explain, but I kind of hear through all the roughness, and I envision, the whole orchestra, and I don't know, it's just such a bizarre thing to imagine programming all that. And I'm really, really curious about more Commodore 64 music. I don't have a lot of requests for it because, like I said, I believe most people, I'm just assuming, but I believe most people that know about the Commodore 64 to an extent are well, established adults, families, and they probably wouldn't be searching for channels like mine per se. You know what I'm saying? So like it's a small percentage. I know they're out there, but if anything, hopefully, if enough eyes get on this channel, maybe I'm totally like honored to signal boost this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like this stuff has to be heard because where else would you hear it? So I hope I get more interest in it so people can request it more. I do not know how many games this system had, and I don't want to know too much about it. Like I said, I like the mystery, but I know that I can look forward to each request from the Commodore 64. That's it. Too long didn't read was it sounded very important and historical to me. Like that must have been super iconic at the time, and still is. There's like a little magic to it. There's like this aura that's surrounding it. It's kind of intimidating. But shout out to Rob Hubbard. If they're still around, I would love to know what they're doing. If they continued making music, if this was like a one-time thing. I'm interested in all that stuff. So, the other game came to my head as soon as I was thinking about it. It was Crypt of the Necrodancer or something like that. If that name sounds somewhat familiar, that's the other one I was thinking of. I've done some videos for it too. Anyways, thank you, Patrick, for that. And I need to find out how much more C64 stuff I have, because I don't think I have much, if any, left. So, anyways, thanks to everyone that you see here. Thanks to you for watching. And shout out Rob Hubbard for that. My name is Jesse, and the Auditorium Video Game Music is, yeah. Take it easy. Peace.